Hey, everybody. We have Craig Collins in the house again. He's returning champion. He has been on 2 other times, and we brought him back on because we're in the relationships series called Building Strong Relationships. And if you've been listening to this series, you've heard me interview my 17-year-old daughter, where she shared some really wise information on how to communicate with your teen and how to approach your teen. I think that if you start adopting just a couple of things she suggested, it really could help build a stronger relationship. And this topic, I'm going to ask Craig quite a bit of questions that I know a lot of you have around men and how men think and how to reignite the passion and just lots of different things that women want to know when it comes to men, because you guys are wired different. Let me ask you, what is your favorite part of marriage?
Besides the sex.
Oh, gosh. Hey, that's so shallow. Oh, boy.
I had to get one in there. My favorite part of marriage, I really love having a partnership. I love having someone in my life that is my confidant, my companion, the person that I consider my best friend, that I want to experience life with. Because I was single for many years, and it can be a lonely road. So yeah, to be with someone who you truly love and who you have a lot in common with I consider it a blessing in this life.
Yeah. And the sex.
The sex doesn't hurt. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Someone wrote in. So I asked the social family some questions they wrote in. They want to know, what do you love most about me? And then what do I love most about you?
There's a lot that I do love about you, but I think what I love most is your pure heart, because that's really what made me fall in love with you when we first met, was really your innocence and your purity. I've never met anyone like you. It's almost like you've gone through this world and haven't been jaded by all the things that most people deal with in life, but you managed to get through life dealing with trauma and dealing with a lot of hardships, but you still maintain such a pure and loving heart. So that's what I love most about you.
Wow, thanks.
Yeah.
That's so kind.
Yeah.
I was thinking, I love a lot of things about you. I think because of the things I've gone through, there's a couple things. One, I really love that you are a man of your word, that you don't say things you don't mean. So I feel like I can trust you. If you do say something, you hold to it. You don't not follow through. And that is a huge character that is rare. I actually think it's rare to find people that are true to their word and are honest. And I've now been with you for so many years that it's like you would think you've messed up, but you haven't. So that's really powerful.
Wow.
Yeah. And then I also love your love for nature and animals. That tells me the most about you, because you might have different things that you do that bother me, or I might have different things that bother you about me, but you have this love for nature and animals that's so beautiful. So I always knew that you would treat me well because you treat nature and animals so well.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. So I'm curious, because Men Are From Mars is a book. Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus is a book that I read a long time ago. Did you read it?
I think I skimmed through it, but I'm familiar with the concept.
Okay, so in that book, because I had some people write to me about intimacy in a long-term relationship, right? After 10 plus years of being together, there's been obviously ups and downs in that relationship and some hurt that was said or done. Try to do therapy. Sometimes it works, sometimes it really doesn't. And from that book, it talks about how men have a really hard time opening up emotionally without the sex or without intimacy, sexual or intimate connection. And they have to almost have that first for their heart to soften, for them to communicate openly and to clear the glass, per se, of a relationship. And women, on the other hand, really need there to be this conversation and clearing of emotions to feel safe before they can be intimate. Would you agree with that, kind of, from a man's perspective?
That's interesting. I would say that I would agree that I think after intimacy, it is easier for men to open up. They feel like they can be vulnerable because being intimate it's a vulnerable act.
Yeah.
I think that creates like a safe space for men where they do feel like they can open up in that short time after intimacy. So
I would agree with that because I had told a woman, she had come to me and she's been married for 20 plus years. They have kids. They've had ups and downs, of course, but she chooses him. She loves him. She's mad at him about a few things that they can't quite come to a clearing on. And we used to be so sexual together and we used to have a lot of fun together. And I miss that. And he wants to have sex with me, but I'm mad at him about a few things. So I don't want to be intimate with him. And she's like, but I'm also depriving myself. And it's just causing this huge gap between us. And I told her, I said, if you choose him and you think he's actually a good person, you're not self-abandoning yourself by being intimate with him. You actually want sex. You miss that part of you. So you're punishing yourself by not doing it, and you're keeping yourself with this gap. So I say, start being intimate for the sake of you, not for him. And then it will start to open up this softness within him where you guys can start to talk, where maybe you can clear out the emotional stuff that you're holding on to. Would you agree with that?
Yeah. I think there's wisdom in that, because if a man senses that a woman is purposely withholding herself and being intimate, then it creates a divide, and it can push the man away. And because we all have our needs, right? We all have our human needs, and sex and intimacy is one of those needs. So if a man's needs are not being fulfilled by his wife, then it certainly creates a divide, and it can push him away. And if it goes on long enough, it can push him away permanently, and I think cause a separation in the relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's tough to reconcile if the woman doesn't, I think, feel safe to be intimate with the man. It can be a very difficult position to be in.
Mm-hmm.
I think it requires communication,
Mm-hmm.
honestly.
Yeah.
I think because she wants to feel safe to give of herself to her mate. But if there needs to be a clearing, then I think a lot of times there just has to be that hard communication.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. I do think that one thing that we haven't done in a while, but we used to be on a good rhythm, is we would have these weekly conversation set times that we would literally go, what worked this week? What could I have improved on? And what do you have upcoming this week that I can help you and support you on? So that we were always clearing and advancing every week. But I think one thing that we do, even though we have let go of that one set hour, is that every night we have either bath time or a nature walk. So that's every single day, either a hot tub, a bath, or a nature walk, which allows us just to connect on everyday life stuff. And I'd probably come to you at that time if I had something that I needed to communicate with you about. That time has just been set. Like, we just have a non-negotiable of that connection time.
Yeah, I think we've replaced that structured weekly meeting with those daily meetings.
And we don't even call them a meeting because we're so sick of meetings that we just call it a hike, a bathtub, or a hot tub.
But we do have really good conversations during that time. And it's a space when we can share if there's something that's on our heart or on our minds that we need to maybe clear with our partner. So yeah, I think that daily ritual that we have works for us to really keep the relationship clean.
And I actually had heard that from another couple that I really admired. There's very few couples that I really admire, but this was a couple that I looked at, and they do that every day. They have a daily connection time where they're walking or taking a bath or whatever. And I think that when you catch up with each other about what happened during that day, because sometimes a day can feel like a week or a year. And you're like, if you let too much time go by where you're not connecting, and maybe you had this busy day and then just go and do your separate things, watch TV or whatever at night, you'll get so disconnected from their world. And then it creates somewhat of a divide. Like, you're like, I don't even think you know who I am. So I think that's been really valuable for us.
Yeah, I really like getting outside. It's neutral. And also because if you're in the bathtub with someone, then you can feel confined. You can feel like, oh, geez, we're getting into a heated conversation and now I can't.
I'm stuck in a tub.
So I know, of course, I value that time, but I really like being out in nature because it might even feel safer at times because it is neutral. And it If you live in a city, it's a walk around the block. It's like a 10 to 15-minute walk around the block after dinner.
Yep.
If you don't have a park or nature to go into,
Yeah.
even just getting outside in fresh air is hugely beneficial.
Yeah. Ours are around 4-ish before dinner or after dinner. It just depends.
Yeah.
Because we have to work with the weather around here. But yeah, I think that you could start with that. What else do you think that we do that has created our relationship to work? Because we've run businesses together, parenting together, just our stuff together. Why do you think it works?
Do you think that we make time to have fun together and to play together? Because if you're just caught in the monotony of daily life of got to make dinner for the family tonight, got to make sure the house is clean, got to make sure the kids have done their homework, that can be draining on a relationship. So I think having weekly dates like we do really helps to keep that spark alive. And we do have fun together. We enjoy the same things. Like we enjoy pickleball and hiking and biking and skiing together. Just doing fun activities together also creates that bond between us.
That's true. I think you can get in that rat race of, did you do this? Did this get done? Blah, blah, blah. This bill paid. So then you're like, I want someone more fun in my life. So you got to make sure you're having fun.
Yeah.
What do men really like from women? What makes a man swoon?
Do we want to keep this PG or?
Yeah, just share. We want to know the truth. You can share whatever is the truth.
What makes a man swoon?
You guys, if you could see him right now, he's like sitting with his hand over his head. Wow, I have to answer this.
I hope my mom doesn't listen to these. So what I really do appreciate is when Danette initiates, right? Intimacy. Yeah, if she initiates intimacy, because that takes a lot of pressure off of the guy. Because I think guys do feel a lot of pressure to swoon the woman and to do an hour of foreplay. And it can feel confronting and intimidating for guys a lot of times. And I get that we do it and there are times when we do enjoy doing it, but if it's every single time we have to go through this routine to get the engine warmed up, then it can be tough. It can, especially if at the end of the day, if you had a hard work day and it's just, gosh, I don't really have the energy to do 30 minutes or an hour of foreplay. It's refreshing when the woman initiates, just like out of nowhere. I think that actually builds a stronger connection with us.
Anything else?
I think being recognized and being appreciated builds a stronger connection as well. So if you compliment me or tell me you're proud of me for something specific, or tell me you think I look good and you can tell that I've been working out more, anything that you can say to just let me know that you see me and that you recognize that I've been putting in the work, whether it's in business or my health or whatever it is that I'm doing in life. It just feels good to be acknowledged by your partner.
So I'm going to share a little personal note. For me, I don't always feel revved up. And especially if we've had a busy day, like I think everyone can relate. If you're just in your rhythm of a busy day or the rhythm of every day that's pretty monotonous, it's sometimes hard to feel excited at night to initiate. And one thing I've noticed is that if I light candles, if you have a fireplace or you'd light candles, you put on music that feels sexy to you or feels good to you, and you create these smells, you create this atmosphere. And then what I'll say to him is I'll create this atmosphere, or I'll ask him to create the atmosphere. And then I'll say no expectations, meaning that if nothing happens, don't be mad, but I want to just lay with you. I just want to like hug and snuggle and just connect for a minute in this type of atmosphere. And that just takes the pressure off that I'm not going to get in trouble if I don't want it. And he's not going to get in trouble if he doesn't want it after we snuggle, and we might be no clothes on, that we have the pressure off. And I really enjoy that time. I really enjoy creating that space, because once you connect and hug with someone, there's so many endorphins. There's so much magic that is just there in the holding and the hugging and the breathing together. And being in an atmosphere with candles and good music and good smells, right?
Yeah. And it doesn't always have to lead to intimacy.
That's intimacy, but not
It
to
is.
sex. Yeah.
Yeah. It's not sex, but yeah, there are a lot of times when that's fulfilling.
Yeah.
And it just laying in bed for 15 or 20 minutes.
Yeah.
It's very fulfilling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we've made it, at least I said it. I was like, I want to just have this time to connect like this versus watching TV.
Yeah.
And you were like, of course, I'd rather do this than watch TV anyway.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's awesome. But I always say create the environment because that helps. I know if your room is messy and your room is cold and your room doesn't have any like sensuality to it, you got to put some sensuality to it. That's huge.
Yeah.
You actually taught me that.
Did I?
Some people don't do that. When we got in our relationship, you were like, let's light a candle. You always were into that. And I was like, I didn't know that was a thing until you came along. And I was like, oh, this is a thing. This is nice.
Well, you're welcome.
Any words of wisdom to impart? We'll close it up for today, but any other things that you feel like sharing that's coming to you?
I think have grace for one another because we all have our own mountains to climb. And we truly don't know what mountain the other person is climbing day to day. Unless you're communicating and you're open with one another, we're all facing our own battles on a daily basis. So I would just say have grace for your partner and understand that he or she they're dealing with battles on a daily basis. So just show them a little bit of grace and compassion.
I love that. That's nice.
Yeah.
I heard a phrase, try to see the God in one another. Try to see the God in your partner and treat them with as much respect as you would want to have and as much admiration as you would want to receive and as much grace as you would like to experience. And that's probably half the battle.
Yeah.
All right.
Sure.
Thanks, Craig, for being on the Danette May Show. Let me know, guys, if you share this episode out all over Facebook and Instagram and tag me, Craig has to come on.
I'll be forced to come back.
And you can ask him business questions. Let us know if you want business advice from Craig. We're going to be talking about financial abundance in March and creating businesses, different things like that. So let me know if you want Craig to come on in March as well.
Okay.
All right. Love you guys. And we'll see you on the next episode of the Danette May Show.